All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, for the sake of time, I think we shall start. I want to, in a special, welcome every one of you. I understand there's Enoch, Chief Joy, Bashim, Brian, Patricia, Steve, and Jen. Thank you so much for making the time to participate in this virtual meeting. So, for starters, my name is Samo Makanema, and I'm one of the first people in Malawi to be locally trained in the aspect of biotechnology. I did my degree program at Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and we graduated around I think 2018 somewhere there. But we were the first cohort to do with biotechnology, and I believe that most of us here are in a way quite familiar with biotechnology. So this talk has been organized by Biotech Talks. So Biotech Talks is a local firm, and basically the vision is to inspire an enabling environment for biotechnology. Inspiring and enabling environment for biotechnology. You know that this particular kind of science, it in a way, in very so much many ways, requires an enabling environment for it to flourish. So basically the goal is to connect with decision makers and empower them with accurate and relevant biotech information, and as a result getting to that particular thing. And the objectives of Biotech Talks are mostly to create a sense of community among the biotech population in Malawi and biotech enthusiasts, but also to have that platform for information sharing, about trips, and other activities that are being done locally. And because, like for today, our presenters, all of them are people who have gone somewhere to do something to do with biotechnology. So, want to engage in what are considered as meaningful conversations about biotechnology and also its place in the economic development of Malawi and Africa as a whole. But also, eventually, we want to have this as a mentoring platform for emerging voices in biotechnology locally. So, once again, I want to welcome each and every one of you. So, in the interest of time, we'll have our first presenter for today, and that will be our dearest Jane Tadala Kajikunda. Jane is a master's student at Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources. She's doing masters in aquaculture and fisheries, but her background is biotechnology. We were in the same class with her from I think 2013 or 2017. So she is doing quite some fascinating work in this subject. So at this particular point, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Jane Kachigunda to make her presentation on emerging opportunities in biotechnology, and in this case the issue to do with aquaculture. Thank you, Jen. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sam. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to share my screen. I hope you are able to see my presentation.
Yes, we are able to. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As the moderator has already introduced me, I'll just say the same thing about me. I am Jane Kashikunda. I graduated in 2017 doing bachelor's in biotechnology, and now I'm doing a master's in aquatic animal health and ecosystem management. I just wanted to clarify on that one. It's not pure aquaculture and fisheries, I am trying to specialize in the aquatic animal health and ecosystem management, but mostly on the aquatic animal health side. So this afternoon, I would like to present to you the potential of biotechnology in Malawi's aquaculture industry. Just a little bit of an introduction. Biotechnology is a broad discipline in which biological processes, organisms, or some cellular components are used in order to develop new technologies. For example, in aquaculture, for the organism part, there are bacillus microorganisms that are used as probiotics that can be applied in order to boost the immunity, improve growth performance, and also improve the gut microbiome. And on the cellular components, there are fish vaccines that have used the DNA segments in order to induce an immunity in fish and an immune response. And on the processes, there are hormones that are utilized in order to change the sex of fish, maybe from females to all males in a culture. And a little bit of introduction on aquaculture. This is a practice of farming aquatic organisms, which include fish, shellfish, algae, and even some aquatic plants. This can be done at a large scale or even at a small scale. And in other cases, it is done in a fully controlled environment, like here in this picture. These are rainbow trouts that are captured indoors, while this one can be done outdoors, like maybe in caged farming in oceans or in marine waters. And on the challenges of aquaculture in Malawi, mostly we have a challenge of water quality due to pollution, which has been there due to the improper waste management. Most people tend to dispose solid waste in natural waters, and this affects the quality of the water. And also another case is on the cost of feed. Malawi doesn't have its own factories that are producing fish. Mostly feed production is done outside, and we tend to import feed from maybe our neighboring countries. Like most of the feed that are available in Malawi, we get them from Zambia. So this is a challenge because not many farmers who are doing aquaculture at a small scale manage to get the feed. And also another thing is the growth rate of the recommended fish species. Malawi does not allow exotic fish species in aquaculture, so only the indigenous, mostly the tribal species are the ones that are used in aquaculture. So these species genetically they have a low growth rate, and this is a challenge for the production for the farmers. And another challenge is also the source of fingerlings. Farmers mostly use recycled fingers because there are not many hatcheries that are doing the production, and many people don't have access to the fingerlings, so they tend to just recycle or share the fingerlings on their own in the communities. Another problem which we have is the problem of parasites. Most farmers complain of parasites in their ponds, so these tend to retard the health of the fish. And also another case is the case of fish diseases on its own, and even the diagnosis and management of the fish. We should accept that in Malawi we are somehow backward on this problem, because in the past not many diseases were reported. So after we are hit by an outbreak of fish disease, that's when the problem was noticed that no, this is a huge problem that needs attention. And also another thing is on the dissemination of data that is generated through research. I can confirm here that it is hard to get information, and even articles on aquaculture in Malawi. So we need to find ways in which everything that has been done through research can get back to all the stakeholders, even including the farmers themselves, because when you are trying to identify the problem, some would it's even better to go back to the farmers and you ask them. So when you go there, they tell you that there's this project that came here, they did this, they did that, but we have not even received any feedback from them. So I think this is also a challenge in aquaculture. So all these problems could be solved by applying biotechnology to it. For example, the water quality. There are microorganisms that have been identified to degrade waste. So we can use this, we can try to isolate them from our waters, from the soil, and maybe work on them in the lab to find out the potential of how much and which types of waste they can manage to degrade. And even the toughest waste, which is the plastic, the polypropylene plastic, there are microorganisms like the Aspergillus fungus that has been isolated and identified to degrade this plastic. So we can try to look into this area in Malawi so that maybe we can solve the issue of waste management. Another thing is on the commercial feed. Biotechnology can come up with feed that can be easily digestible by the fish and even cost effective, so that every farmer at a small scale can manage to access the feed. Another thing is that we can venture into cryopreservation, which is the storage of biological material at a very low temperatures. This could seem like a difficult thing, but upon having resources, this is a doable thing, because having gametes, like collecting gametes from fish and then preserving them maybe in liquid nitrogen, or even freezing them at very low temperatures, and then whenever you need to do fertilization, you can thaw them and maybe do artificial fertilization in the lab, so that maybe we can have a stable supply of gametes for hatchery production. And on the disease management, there are phages, which are bacterial viruses that are specific for certain bacteria. These can be used in order to treat some bacterial infections that affect our fishes. And also another thing, we can try breeding for resistance, where biotechnology can identify maybe genomic markers and the traits that could be able to identify species that are resistant to certain diseases. And also we can try like phytomedical technology, which uses phytomedicines, natural herbs that have been identified to boost an immune response in other organisms. Maybe they can do the same in fish, so we can try this method. And also another thing is the development of vaccines. Not many vaccines have been developed for fish, so it's still a potential area for research, because other countries are doing it, and Malawi can also try to venture into the idea. And also another thing is on the diagnostic techniques. For example, in Malawi in 2020, where we had a fish disease outbreak, which is called episodic ulcerative syndrome, and it's caused by a fungus. The observable signs of it were the fish lesions and maybe the hemorrhagic spores. So this is a challenge, because the disease, after it got spread in 2020, it reemerged in the consecutive years. Even this year we had some cases, and it looks like it's no longer appearing in the season which it's supposed to be, because it mostly appears in the cold season. But then last year it reemerged in September, of which Malawi was very hot, and this could mean that maybe the fungus that is circulating in Malawi is different from the other one. So biotechnology can try to find out the specific features in the genomic characteristics of this fungus, and so that we can use that maybe to develop a treatment for it, or even to try to find diagnostic technique on that. And in the previous outbreak, it was hard to identify the disease because Malawi did not have a lot of resources to do that, like the labs to do that, until maybe we had to send the samples to University of Zambia for diagnosis, which also took time. So we needed to find intervention for this one. And on this one, that's where I tried to, I should not try, I am trying to find a solution for this, and it's still at the concept level, where I am thinking of designing a rapid test kit for this disease in fish, so that maybe it can be distributed to our farmers in the field, so that we can be notified at an age where the outbreak is still at a minimal level. And also another thing, we can incorporate bioinformatics by designing or developing predictive models for disease outbreaks using maybe the water quality parameters that are collected daily at each fish farm, because as these water quality parameters are changing, they can determine what could come and what disease could even occur at the fish farm. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen. Thank you for your presentation. Quite some interesting stuff there. I was just amazed as I looked at it, and yeah. At this point in time, I would like to invite questions from the audience. If you have any questions for Jen on our presentation, potential applications of biotechnology in Malawi's aquaculture industry. Please, the floor is open. Do we have any questions for Jen on her presentation? The potential of biotechnology in Malawi's aquaculture industry. So, Jen, you on your presentation there is I found something quite interesting. You're saying you're trying to develop a rapid test kit for.
Hello?
Yes, yeah, you're saying you're trying to develop a rapid test kit for.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to develop a test kit for epizootic ulcerative syndrome, which is a disease that affects the fish. It affects fish in fresh water and even in salt water. Okay. So mostly it causes the fishy lesions where the skin is eaten up by the fungus as the fungus is growing into the muscles. So we need to try to have maybe a diagnostic kit that can help with that problem, like screening the disease before it has even erupted.
Well, that's interesting. So,
yeah.
Okay, so this thing, hopefully will succeed at working on this. So it will be like the first of its kind in the world.
Not the first of its kind. There has been other test kits that have used the immunofluorescent assay. So for us, we would like to use the monoclonal antibodies to do that.
Okay. And for opting for that option, basically it has to do with the cost of doing that, or?
Yeah, our goal is to develop a test that can be accessible by everyone. Like we are trying to reduce the cost of it, because the reason why we even didn't manage to get the kits and maybe distribute to our farmers is because the ones that are available are there at a very high cost. So we need to find an alternative to that. So we will try to use the cheapest materials that can be available, so that we can be able to make many of them for our farmers.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, let me allow others to ask questions as well. Please, you are welcome to ask questions. Yes, Madalitso, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask Jen your question.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I am Melissa Jimpeni. Yes, I am Melissa Jimpeni. I'm an energy professional. I am also an alumni from Bunda, studying biotechnology as well. My question for Jane is basically about the industry. You have studied biotechnology in aquaculture. So what are the opportunities for somebody that's interested to do this same thing as well, to apply biotechnology in aquaculture? What are the opportunities out there? They've studied, they've done that. So what should they expect when they go out into the industry?
Okay, on that one, there are a lot of things that we as biotechnologists can do in aquaculture, and there is a gap in that. More especially between aquaculture and maybe molecular biology or biotechnology. So if someone is interested to move from this field to aquaculture, I would even recommend that, because even in academics there is a gap in that. There are some things that need our intervention, especially in disseminating what biotechnology can really do, and what it is at maybe academic level and even at industrial level. So there is more that can be done. It cannot be limited to aquatic health. There is feed technology, which people can venture into that. There is fish breeding. There is even fish production, which can even include maybe designing the aquatic ponds, even the aquaculture farms. We as biotechnology can do that.
All right. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Yes, Mother. So that's your question. There was a question, Jen. There's a question for you in the chat. This is from Has Vinay Manganda. He wants a clarification. At some point, you were talking about coming up with some models in bioinformatics. What were you trying to say, according to his question?
Okay, on the models, this could be based on like machine learning algorithms, where data collected can be subjected to the algorithm, and then it can be able to detect maybe according to what is in literature. For example, you collect water quality parameters, and maybe which is the temperature, maybe the oxygen levels, and then at some point there was a disease that maybe erupted, maybe when temperature was 21 degrees, and maybe dissolved oxygen was maybe at 10 micrograms per liter. So you label you label like the conditions, and when the similar conditions are appearing, they can even give you a picture that if this would continue maybe for a week or some days, it can maybe predict that maybe we could have a similar condition which we had in the previous outbreaks in the previous times. So it's just a matter of lighting the algorithm that can detect that in the data, or even on using maybe social media reports, it can even detect that according to the frequency of these similar things, we could have a similar situation which we had before.
Wonderful.
I don't know if it's yes.
Wonderful. I think he has gotten the point. I've also gotten your point, and it's quite fascinating, because then that means it's like like you are literally building like a farm that is behaving like a machine, so to speak. Like it is thinking for itself. Okay. Yes, Bashi. I see Bashi has raised up his hand. Bashi.
Yes. I have a question. Yes, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, Bashir.
Okay, my name is Bashir Kamwendo. Currently, I'm at Academics University in Teke, studying biotechnology as well. I was also a biotechnology student at Rwanda, graduated in 2018. I have a question for Jane. Jane, how big is the aquaculture industry in Malawi? And how is the adoption rate for technology among the aquaculture farmers in Malawi? How are they adopting to the technology that are coming in Malawi? Thank you.
Yeah, on the spectrum of aquaculture in Malawi, right now we can say that it's at a transition. I don't know. Aquaculture in Malawi used to be like big, but now they seem to be like a low production due to the kind of species that are recommended for the government to culture. But then at the same time, we can say that the production is low, but we have a lot of fish farmers in Malawi that are doing aquaculture. So I don't know in what spectrum we can put it, but it's promising that maybe in some later stage this the production can increase, and we can have a lot of farmers. And then there are projects which are funded by the government as well as other organizations. For example, the Aquafish and the World Fish, they are encouraging aquaculture by trying to help with the extension services to them, so that maybe we can boost aquaculture in Malawi. And also, the second question was the adoption rate of biotechnology in Malawi. Mostly this would not depend on the farmers themselves, because for people in order to apply like biotechnology, especially the genetic engineering part and the molecular biology part, there's need for ethical approvals and policies by the government. So if our government could review the Biotechnology Act, and so that maybe we can apply it in aquaculture, I think that would even help us a lot, because it would give us a platform for us to land on when we go out there and maybe introduce these kind of things.
Thank you, Jen. But she has in a way answered your question. I do believe so. Yeah. So Jen,
yes, she has answered the question. Yeah.
So Jen,
thank you.
Thank you. You are saying that one of the challenges that is there is that there's a restriction on what kind of variety, what can we say, breeds or fish that you can cultivate in Malawi aquaculture wise. So in this case, that means the ones that are available locally, the ones that are from here are the type that are slow growing.
Yes.
And which means that,
Yeah.
which means even to cultivate them in a pond is also, it works, but it has also its issues.
Yeah, the thing is, the breeds, they multiply at a faster rate. The multiplication rate is good, but then because of that multiplication, they mature at a very young age, which gives them limitations, maybe to divert its energy resources, maybe to muscle growth and other things that are required, that are desirable for production in order to have quality harvest. They tend to start reproducing at a younger age, and this is a problem, especially in Oleochromis chilanus, which is the another kind of jump. It tends to start producing young ones at a very younger age, but then instead of it to be growing like its size, so that's a problem. They are prolific breeders, so there is a need for maybe a solution to that. The problem is that the government doesn't allow maybe farmers to start culturing like other trapia species, like maybe Nile trapia or Mozambican trapia. They only allow those that are indigenous from Malawi. Hello.
All right. Wow. Thank you. I think I've gotten the point. I believe others have also. All right. In the interest of time, we'll move on to our next presenter. But it's quite an interesting presentation, I might say, Jen. And wow, maybe we may come back to it at the end of all the presentations. But this is quite a point of discussion. Yeah. So thank you, Jen. You can unshare your screen. Hello everyone, and those of us who have just joined us like right now. Our next presenter is Stephen Maliema, and he is into synthetic biology, and he's also the country rep for SynBio Africa, a Ugandan-based startup that deals with synthetic biology. So at this point in time, let me welcome Mr. Steve to present to us on synthetic biology. Steve, it's your time.
Thanks, Sam. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sam? Very much audible. We are audible. Okay. Yeah, and can you and I hope you can see my screen is visible, is it? Yes. Okay, so thanks, Sam, our moderator for the session. It's a great pleasure for me this afternoon to share with you all this moment as I share the countless possibilities that biotechnology and synthetic biology has, and the promising future that awaits all of us in this regard. So my name is Stephen Maliema, as introduced by Sam, and I'm a country rep of SynBio Africa, but also a co-founder of Initiative for Advanced Biotechnology for Malawi. So before I go further, let me just give you a brief background of synthetic biology. What is it all about? SynBio Africa, rather. So SynBio Africa is a platform that was founded in Uganda way back. So it's a platform that brings together scientists, students, researchers, policymakers, but also the community at large. It does this for many reasons, but a major one being to help each other address so many African problems that African countries are facing using synthetic biology and biotechnology. So our vision at SynBio Africa is to get a healthy, safe, and sustainable world through synthetic biology, and our mission remains that of to be a leading SynBio innovator for sustainable solutions to greater challenges in health, agriculture, and environment in Africa. So what is synthetic biology? So this, in simple terms, is a design and construction of biological parts, devices, and systems and also the redesigning of existing ones for use of purposes, e.g. the manipulation of organisms into biofactories to produce biofuels. Just an example, but there are so many of them. And biotech can be simply defined as a cross-disciplinary field that uses biological principles and living organisms to develop innovative products and technologies. And we understand that there are quite a number of different biotechnologies across so many fields. And some of them include medical biotechnology, environmental, but also industrial biotechnology. So for so long, we know people are so much confused about biotech, but also synthetic biology. But there lies a thin line between the two. And with this slide, I just wanted to clarify that synthetic biology serves as a key enabler for advancements in biotechnology, and that synthetic biology serves as a subset or specialized area within the biotechnology. And lastly, that synthetic biology advances biotechnology by enabling the creation of novel organisms and the redesign of existing ones to perform specialized tasks. So now we need to appreciate what has been done in the field of synthetic biology as an emerging discipline within the broader biotechnology. So in East Africa, we've seen scientists doing great work. Actually, one of the projects that is ongoing is that they're working on what they're calling a phage project, phage cosmetic project. And this project, what they're trying to do is that they're employing or manipulating the bacteriophage to treat acne, the skin condition, mostly that occurs in ladies. And on the other side, what you're seeing there is just another exciting project where scientists are trying to manipulate or engineer bacteria to improve its ability to fix nitrogen. And I think in Malawi, this could be a wake-up call as we can all agree that currently it's not so easy for us to purchase the fertilizers. The prices keep rising, and it's time that we could be ready to apply these technologies, synthetic biology, so that we break and contribute to these major challenges in agriculture. And on this slide, I just want to share with you all the products that have been made from biomanufacturing through synthetic biology also. So what you're seeing there is clothes that have been made or manufactured rather from carbon recycling. And we know that in most of the African countries, including Malawi, talk of carbon it's an abundant resource. We've not made good use of it, but other countries in the West have actually made good use of it, and they do by manufacturing textiles, to be more specific. And also, I had a privilege to witness some of the notable work that's being done in East Africa. Specifically, this is Uganda, where students are trying to engineer bacteria to degrade plastics. And this is not only a problem that affects Uganda. I know most of African countries, even in Malawi, when you look at our cities, we have so much waste. This is a problem that has been there for quite some time in our cities of these plastics that really need a very good way of degrading them. And what we're seeing here is that some scientists have actually devised a way to use the bacteria to degrade plastics. So what I just shared with you was some good work, great work that has been done elsewhere. And then the question is, as Malawi now as a country, where are we now? So Malawi, we got to technically, we got to know about synthetic biology, to be introduced officially earlier this year, somewhere around February. And what you're seeing here is a launch of the event where we had to introduce the synthetic biology. community at one of the universities in Malawi. And currently what's being done apart from this is we're doing advocacy so that in the first primarily that people know what synthetic biology is all about, and then what can we use synthetic biology for, and then how do we solve the problems that we have using synthetic biology. So we are at an infancy stage where we're trying to educate people, awareness and stuff like that. So synthetic biology offers compelling advantages over what we call conventional biotechnology, what has been there all along, in a way that synthetic biology enables precise and custom designed modifications in DNA sequences, but also in case of pandemics, for example, COVID-19, synthetic biology has a bit of rapid prototyping that allows quick development of biological components and systems, but also expanded design space that leads to novel functions and applications found in nature. So going forward, we are saying there are lots of opportunities within, or growing interest within the industry, and we can use synthetic biology to solve so many challenges that we encounter, be it in the medical field, to do with waste management, as we saw earlier, agriculture and food, bioenergy and biofuels, textile materials, as we saw that people doing by manufacturing of some clothes, but also environmental remediation. But much as we keep singing this song about the beauty of synthetic biology and biotechnology here in Malawi, but also beyond, one fact, some truth that stands so strong is that these technologies keep facing lots of resistance. And Malawi is not exception. We remember way back, I think in 2012, we had some trials in the BT cotton and then some plants, and them too, those projects, the trials faced some resistance because people did not understand it. So the issue of public perception and acceptance, but also the regulator and policy challenges. Sometimes you have people that understand the science, but then for you to be welcomed in the country, it has to undergo some procedures or protocols. So policymakers may not fully understand your technology, and that pulls us back. But also you talk of ethical considerations, biosecurity risks, and unintended consequences also. So these are things that much as we want to be advanced, but we're also very cognizant that there is this other side of the coin that we may not want to forgo, but always, be mindful of. So looking to the future, we are saying synthetic biology has a lot to offer. Specifically, we would be talking about gene editing technologies for potential cures of genetic diseases, developing of biosensors in environmental remediation, but also diagnostic tools for rapid and sensitive disease detection in biomedical or medical setting. Unlocking efficient biofuel production to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. You can bear with me, you can agree with me that in most African countries, the price of fuels keep rising as well. So it's high time we need to be more aggressive if we are to really be out of this mess. And then lastly, we're talking about enhancing crop strength for better yield, resilience, and also nutrition. So lastly, I just wanted to share as a Symbio Africa country from Malawi that for the past 3 years I've been in Symbio Africa, I've witnessed a remarkable support from different funders across the whole world that are so eager to help work that's being done in synthetic biology, but also biotechnology, even to the point of funding those that have got startups. So I think this is really, that tells you that it's a really big field, a promising venture that all of us, each one of us, could sit back and think of, venturing into it as we, think of these problems that keep crippling Africa. Otherwise, I thank you for your attention, and that's the end of my presentation. Thanks, and over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Steve, for your presentation. quite informative, as we can all see. Yes, guys, don't worry. You have time to ask questions. Yeah, so quite interesting. Synthetic biology. The definition itself is something very, for the scientifically minded, very exciting, but also at the same time something scary. So, Steve, um, so are you suggesting to say that using synthetic biology, we can be able to make a human being that is HIV resistant?
I mean, that's one thing that I've always said. I mean, such advancements or such one could have such ideas to venture into such, but what draws scientists back is the ethical considerations. There's been that resistance because with synthetic biology and biotechnology, some people like religious in quotes, they're always thinking you're playing code in a term. I hope you know that term. Like you're trying to be equal to the creators while you're trying to bring something new. So like synthetic biology really differs from biotechnology because it really deals with novelty, like bring something new that has never been in existence, using the existing ones but then making something new. So you make it today, tomorrow noise starts. So yeah,
it's more like what is happening in IT between normal IT and artificial intelligence, sort of.
Yeah.
Because I also tend to think of synthetic biology as you're presenting more like an extended version of creation. Okay, but yeah. So I see Emmanuel Chinkot has raised his hand. You have a question for Steve? And also after that, Ranke. Excuse me. Emmanuel, you want to ask a question? Yes, Emmanuel, ask your question.
Okay. Let me start by saying thank you to Steve for a very beautiful presentation. So you mentioned something about resistance, some of the problems that you're facing to go further with this project. So my question is, what are you or the organization doing to overcome these challenges that you mentioned? Thank you.
Thanks, Emmanuel, for the wonderful question. I think that's exciting. So as I said in Malawi, so I'll start with Africa as a whole. So in Africa, like some of the countries that I know, Uganda specifically, they have, because synthetic biology gets what we call, it's multidisciplinary in nature. So it brings together scientists, but also policymakers, the government officials and the public at large. So that when we develop the technology, we want to inform the government officials, we want to inform the policymakers, so that this is what we're doing, this is what is going to be happening, this technology, and these are side effects, and we want to weigh everything, but also making them to be fully aware of what's going to happen with this technology. And with that involvement, inclusiveness, it becomes a bit easier because you involving them at an infancy stage. So that's what happens in other countries. But then, so I know Uganda and Kenya, they're doing quite so well. But in Malawi, as I said, we are still doing advocacy. And so that's the first step, which is vital, because we want to tell them this is synthetic biology is about APCD. It's not just because sometimes it's the news that spreads faster than the truth is that people want to spread the side effects of synthetic biology and then sidelining the positive part of it. So we want to civic educate the masses in Malawi, beginning with universities, to say, okay, synthetic biology has more good than harm, as people say. So for now, that's what we're doing. We have programs. We started in May, and then we've lined up some programs that they're gonna keep running before we venture into the real technical work. I think that's what I can say. I hope that answers your question, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. And I just want to say you're doing a very good job. So keep it up, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Emmanuel, and I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Emmanuel, for your question. Yes, Namaumbo, ask your question.
Yes, my name is Ronken Namaumbo, and I'm an alumni for Biotechnology. I graduated in 2021. Okay, Steve, first of all, thank you for the wonderful presentation, but I'm kind of lost when you were explaining about synthetic biology that is happening in Malawi. I didn't get you clearly on that spot. Thank you.
Thanks, Rankin. So the status of synthetic biology in Malawi, as I said, is we are at advocacy stage. So we introduced synthetic biology earlier this year. It wasn't there before in course technical, because I know some of the renowned academicians at some other universities actually doing a project on synthetic biology, but this is under non-disclosure agreement, and it's unfortunate that I can't be sharing with you now. But then, as officially, we opened more of a chapter of South Africa in Malawi, and the event was held at Bunda. And since then, we've been having, programs that we want to educate, but also reach out to more masses that they also know what synthetic biology is all about. So I think that's what we can say. So I mean, even now up to December, we have a program that we are following that keeps rolling in this regard. I hope that helps you in one way or the other.
Yes, okay, thank you. So how can one be a member, or how can one follow up with your team? Like you have said that you have already drafted a program up to December.
So thanks so much. I have my details on the PowerPoint, but also you can reach out to me personally. I should be able to guide you accordingly. But this is an open forum, as we said. It's for everyone, and so you're most welcome. And I think after this talk, yeah. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Steve. I think for now, I want you to think on poverty and the synthetic biology. Can the two get together? Malawi, where we are right now, and the synthetic biology and the poverty that the country is in. Can we really do this science? But you get back to that question at the end of the presentations. For now, just think on it, All right, at this point, you can unshare your screen, Steve. At this point, we're going to have our next presentation, and our next presenter is Mr. Kefas Fatani. He is a researcher at the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources. He has worked on a couple of interesting stuff, He has worked on, I think he was one of those first people, at some point they established the biotechnology laboratory at Bunda. And he was one of the few people who did DNA paternity testing. I think one of the wonderful projects that he was involved in. And also, I think at some point he also did a bit of a project on BT cowpea. BT cowpea, that's a GM crop. Yes, so I will invite him to come and make his presentation. As of right now, he has already shared this. Okay, Kefas, Mr. Kefas, you are sharing the email, not the PowerPoint screen. Maybe you may want to rethink that. Yes, Kefas, go ahead.
Right. Thank Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kefa Fatsani. I am a project coordinator for City Systems project at Rwanda, a holder of degree in biotechnology, and also currently doing my master's in bioinformatics. I don't know if my presentation is visible.
No, not yet. It's not visible.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, take your time.
Alright.
Be cool, be cool. Be cool.
What about that?
Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's better.
All right. Today I'll talk on plant biotechnology and food security in Malawi. As we already know, almost everyone is talking about an emerging opportunity of biotech in Malawi. To begin with, I should introduce what plant biotechnology is. And this involves the study of plant genes and genomes, coupled with the development of techniques for the incorporation of novel or modified genes into plants. So there are two major important techniques involved in plant biotechnology, which is recombinant DNA technology, well known as genetic engineering, and also plant tissue culture. On recombinant DNA technology, this one has multidisciplinary application and the potential to deal with important aspects of life. We talk of health issues, food security, resistance to divergent adverse environment effects.
Mr. Fatan, sorry, but your slide is not moving. Your slides are not moving. On our side of the story, that we don't know on your laptop or on our side, but we do get
on my laptop. It's moving. Okay, maybe I should not use slideshow.
Okay. Well, I mean, do what you can.
Is it moving?
No, it's not shared.
We can see your screen.
Technology somehow can improve.
Yeah, we get you. We get you.
I think you are able to see my screen.
Now. Can you go into full slideshow? Yeah, now that's moving better.
Let me try to. What about there?
Try to move the slides. Let's see if it will follow you.
I'm moving.
Yeah.
Mr. Moderator, Sam, if I may. So the quicker way is how you gonna share your slides paper. You've got to have to be in a slideshow mode. Paste. Then you go to share your screen. So you don't start sharing your screen and then so this is different with Zoom. It's a bit different. You don't figure out if you just go straight and then share.
All right.
They won't reflect here as you're moving them. So you've got to put in a start mode in the first place, and then you go to share now, not the other way around. Otherwise, you won't have them moving.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. You have done that.
All right. For the sake of time, let me proceed with.
Okay, you can proceed in the mode
with this. Yeah, with this mode, right?
Yeah, okay, Bobo. Proceed with that.
What let me just zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. So careful. Your MA, you are in year what? MSc, you are in year what? First or second?
I'm in second year.
And you're doing it where? At Bunda or?
At Kamuzu University of Health Sciences.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, proceed with your presentation.
All right. Let me introduce plant biotechnology. It involves the study of plant genes and genomes coupled with the development of techniques for the incorporation of novel or modified genes into plants. There are two major techniques involved, recombinant DNA technology and also plant tissue culture. On recombinant DNA technology, this one, it's a multidisciplinary application and can be applied in healthy food and also resistant to divergent adverse environment effects. So, biotechnology can be used to increase crop productivity, can also be used to conserve biodiversity, can also be used to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and also provide a better environment as well as help to alleviate poverty and hunger. But still, we have some ethical concerns associated with crop or plant biotechnology. We have intellectual property rights and also farmers' rights, environmental and biosafety issues connected to GM crops. On this, we also have genetic erosion and biosafety, potential integration, gene contamination, resistance and resistance emergency, and also resistance to antibiotics, especially to the humans and animals. And another ethical concern is about the social and economical issue. So the question can be, what's the current status on food security in Malawi? Using the Global Hunger Index, now Malawi is at, the score for Malawi is 20.7. You can see the scale there, which is less than 9.9. It has been categorized as low, 10 to 19.9, a moderate, but 20 to 35 is serious. 35 above, it's alarming and extreme alarming. So for Malawi, the status so far, we are in a serious hunger status, where our score is 20.7. So we can see that this has been due to the challenges we are experiencing in crop production. These challenges include drought and dry spells. We had also experienced the banana bunch top disease, pests and diseases in other cash crops like cotton, tobacco, tea, and coffee, and also cassava mosaic diseases, and not forgetting the rise in cost of inputs, to be specific, fertilizers and pesticides. So biotechnology can be applied is being applied in banana tissue culturing and also LMO detection. LMO stands for living modified organisms. Someone talked about BT copy and BT cotton. Biotechnology has been used to develop those varieties and also can be used to develop other varieties that can be drought and dry spell tolerant using the technology called mutation breeding and also biofortification. We talk of vitamin A enriched crops like golden rice and also carrots and yellow maize and the other crops that has been enriched with macronutrients. So to talk of banana tissue culturing, the process itself involves developing or coming up with some banana plantlets using a single sucker or cells from the banana mother plant. This technology has been used to replenish the lost glory of our banana. For the past years, we were heavily hit by banana bunch-top disease, of which wiped almost all the varieties of bananas. So to replenish that lost glory, the government, in conjunction with universities and other research institutions, used biotechnology in form of tissue culturing to replenish that lost glory, to recover the lost bananas. And also, this technology is being used to come up with clean crops. When I mean crops that are disease-free. In addition, currently we are doing a research on genotypic study of finger millet and the bambara nuts, of which biotechnology has been also applied, whereby we are able to study the diversity of 40 finger millets germplasm and also 40 bambara nuts germplasm. I'm using the term germplasm because some of these are not really released varieties and were corrected from the farmers. So it would be an offense for me to call them varieties. That's why I'm using the term germplasm. So out of 40 finger millet germplasm and the 40 bambara germplasm, 188 samples for each were collected, and a DNA test, DNA extraction, and a genotyping study was done.
Hello, Kev. Is it my network or is there? Can anybody else hear me?
Yes, it
I think it's gone. It's gone.
Okay. No, probably is lost in translation. The MNRA somewhere has done something. What do we do? Okay. Wow. Interesting. I think he will rejoin soon. He will be able to resume, I guess. I guess. What do we do now? Steve.
Yes, Sam. So, in the interest of time, maybe we could have Mada present, and then we'll have Kev at the very end with the question.
Yeah, just link up with him.
And the lucky enough, you only remained with two slides, so no, someone can take over.
We never know what is on those two slides, though. We never know what diamonds are those two slides, though. But yeah, I get you. Okay, so.
Yeah, might as well be important, but for the sake of time, if there is someone can just take over, and then if he rejoins, you can join completely. Then just be waiting for him.
Okay, thank you. So at this point in time, we're going to hear from one of our very own. He just recently came back. He was in Russia for some days doing some biotech stuff. Yeah, he is the founder and the CEO of Bioenergy, one of our good friends with a couple of failed experiments. Some have worked, of course. But yeah, he's going to talk to us about the aspect of energy in this quest on biotechnology. So, Mada, this is your time. This is your time. Go ahead and do your thing.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam, and thank you for embarrassing me in front of these people. But I've had several failed experiments, and that is true. I like to experiment. I'm an innovator, and some have worked, some have not worked, but that's how life works. So let me just hope everybody can see my screen.
We can see your screen, just that the content is you're on the. Okay, let's draw a screen.
I'm using my phone.
That's okay, as
Using
long
my phone.
as long as it works. Cool, and then. Okay, with the phone? This is amazing. I never thought about this, but this is cool. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Modestin Penny. I graduated in 2018. I was in the first cohort, like Sam and the other guys, studying biotechnology as well. But along the way, I pivoted to bioenergy. For about 4 years, I worked in the clean energy sector, especially clean cooking, and then I pivoted to electricity generation, specifically in the wind energy sector, and that is where I based my startup in. I build wind turbines, and now I'm looking to install microgrids in rural communities. But I have a background in biotechnology, so I'm going to talk about bioenergy and the prospects that biotechnology has in this sector in Malawi as well as across the continent. So just to give you a brief picture on Malawi's energy landscape, there's about 15 million people without access to electricity. As a result, over 90% of the population relies on traditional biomass fuels for cooking. So when I say traditional biomass fuels, I mean charcoal and firewood. As you can see in the picture, this is the actual picture on the ground in our households, in our urban settings, in rural communities. We're constantly cooking on traditional biomass fuel, which is feeding our natural basin resource. So the biggest problem is that rural communities have a connectivity rate of about 4%, but they make up about 82% of the country's population. There's little investment in energy generation and distribution infrastructure, and that is a resulting cause of energy poverty in Malawi. So about 85% of the population has no access to reliable grid electricity, leaving only 15% of the population that has access to reliable grid electricity. But since we're talking about biotech and bioenergy, there are opportunities that as biotechnologists we can explore to close this energy gap and bring about clean energy transition in our communities. As a nation, and as a continent as a whole. I just listed a few biotech applications. The first one is bioethanol, second one is biodiesel, bio-CNG, and bio-LPG. But I am mostly interested in bio-CNG and bio-LPG because they're emerging technologies that biotechnologists can take advantage of to explore these two biofuels, because in Malawi and Africa there is a huge push to transition to clean energy for cooking mostly. So these two fuels play a really pivotal, fundamental role in closing the energy gap in Africa, Malawi as well. So bio-CNG is just basically a form of purified biogas. Biogas is basically a concoction of methane, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and the other impurities. So bio-CNG is a pure form of biogas, which is methane at about 98%. So this is more efficient and it has more calorific value per kg. We still haven't explored this in Africa. We are remaining behind. India is growing this industry rapidly. Europe, America, they're in the forefront of these things. But in Africa, we're at the very basic of exploring biogas. Biogas for biotechnologists is just a raw material. There's so much that we can do with biogas. For instance, bio-CNG. So bio-CNG has the potential to provide rural communities as well as urban communities with clean energy. I remember in 2020 we worked on a project with several experts from the University of Portsmouth in the UK to design a project that's centered on mass producing biogas and then purifying it to bio-CNG and channeling it into a gas grid. So you have pipelines that are moving all around the city to connect to households and provide bio-CNG to households. We never got further with the project. We never got the funding, but this is a huge opportunity that biotechnologists have in the energy sector. Another, like I said, I'm going to emphasize on these two fuels. Bio-LPG. Bio-LPG is also a product of biogas. So you have your biogas. You can either use you have your biogas. You use gasification or pyrolysis to produce carbon and hydrogen. So when you recombine these things, you can either have butane or propane. So these are basically the same. Basically the same compounds that are used for LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, the gas that we get from Afrox. It's basically propane and butane. You can make these gases with just biogas. You can also make these gases from waste, oil waste, from food waste as well. So LPG has a really huge potential to solve the energy crisis in Africa and Malawi, but there isn't much research going on into it. To actually scale the system down is more expensive. We actually did look at exploring this option when I was working with the guys from the UK, but we stumbled upon this block because it is really hard to scale it down. So as biotechnologists, we can go around this thing and find ways to scale this production down to the smallest unit that we can have to produce electricity at an institutional level or just the basic household level. So I want to just talk about the bioenergy landscape in Malawi. We are falling behind. The picture on the left is Clement. Clement is a graduate from Munda. He has a company called Ecogen, those biogas plants. He's actually doing quite well. But we're at the very basis of what biogas can do in the energy sector. And this is also another company called Infinity Energy Solutions. It was co-founded by another guy. He's called Aaron Galua. He's also a graduate from Munda. He produces charcoal briquettes that he sells to companies that use thermal processing as well as households. So we're at the very basis of what bioenergy can provide to the energy sector. But as you can see, if these people can do these things and find markets and build companies from these unprocessed products, unprocessed bioenergy fuels, then we have a lot of opportunities that we can explore to add more value to the bioenergy sector. So I just listed just two opportunities that we as biotechnologists have in Malawi, and the first opportunity is entrepreneurship. So this is just a huge bio-CNG plant in India. Like I said, these guys are really far with these things. They can mass produce biogas, purified and distributed, so it can be used for cooking, it can be used for driving vehicles, it can be used for electricity generation, it can be used for many things. So another opportunity that I listed is research. Like I said, there is a gap in bioenergy in Malawi. There is so much that we can do in research. We can research on improving microbial efficiency in bioethanol production, in biogas production. We can develop novel microorganisms that are more efficient and can actually break down some substrates that are hard to break down. So just to mention a few funding opportunities that are available for Malawi and the African continent, there's the UNDP Growth Accelerator. They provide funding for young entrepreneurs working in the energy sector or anywhere, but if they have a really good business. But I've seen these guys fund a lot of energy entrepreneurs in the recent years. There's also the Energy Catalyst. So this is a program that branches entrepreneurs in Africa and in the UK. So that's where I had the opportunity to work with experts from the University, Surrey and Portsmouth. This is a really huge opportunity for people that are looking to transfer technologies that are in Europe to Africa. Like I mentioned, there's a colleague that I met on the Energy Catalyst platform. He developed a technology that can purify biogas in one step. So traditionally, biogas is purified in 4 steps to produce bio-CNT. So this person developed a technology that can purify biogas in 1 step, and we're looking to incorporate this guy in a consortium. But this is something that I'm working on pursuing in the coming few years. There's also the Global Innovation Fund. They provide funding from about $300,000 to $2 million for entrepreneurs in the energy sector as well. There's also the seed program. They provide funding from startups. They give you seed funding if you want to start something up. So this is just an overview of the funding opportunities that biotechnologies can have in the energy sector. So there are also job opportunities if you're an innovator, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have established yourself as a professional in bioenergy. Bioenergy, like I said, it mostly caters for the clean cooking sector in Africa. There are companies like organizations like the Arena, Clean Cooking Alliance, Modern Cooking Services. They have these employment opportunities for young professionals that are active in the clean cooking sector. So this is the end of my presentation. I just wanted to share with you a brief picture of the prospects that biotechnology has in the bioenergy sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mada, for your presentation. Quite informative, I must say, and wow, so much to talk about. And as we engage in these conversations, you begin to see the amount of work that is there to be done in all of these things. Wow. But then unfortunately we're out of time. However, Mr. Fatani, I will give you just 3-4 minutes just to finalize on the slides you are left with, and then the questions you have for Mada, please just skip them. After Mr. Kefas has finished, then we'll ask Mada, then we'll ask Mr. Vachan, and then we'll do a bit of a wrap up. We should be done in the next 6 minutes. Yeah, so Mr. Kefas, are you back from wherever you went? Is he around?
Yes, I'm back.
You are back. You just disappeared like. Okay. Yeah.
I was.
Okay. Can you?
Right.
You were remaining with how many slides? Is it 2? Can you finalize?
I don't know on which side did I left.
We will tell you. Just for us that page again. Yes. This one on molecular characterization. So the questions that you have for Mada, please keep them. After you are careful, you have 3 minutes to be done with this thing. So please, can you go ahead?
All right. I say on current research, we did molecular characterization to be specific genotyping on finger millet and bambara nuts, whereby the study reveals that within the germplasm of finger millet, there was 48% diversity and also 52% diversity among those germplasms. And for bambara nuts, there was 13% diversity within germplasm, and among germplasm there was 84% diversity. I normally use the terminology germplasm because some of these collections were not released varieties, so it can be an offense to name them varieties. So the proper way is to call them germplasms. The research, the findings were published in this journal, so you can search it. The topic is phenotypic variation and genotypic diversity of finger millet germplasm collection in Malawi. That's for finger millet, while the one for bambara nuts, it's under review. So the potential researchable areas, as far as food security is concerned, is that more field research is needed, whereby it will help to unveil or mine the available genetic resource of useful genes that could be used to improve crops and can be used in different breeding programs. And field research is also required to identify genotypes that have multiple stress tolerant. You know, as Malawi has been heavily hit by droughts and dry spells, for the last season we had the Kalonga and some areas along Lakeshore that were heavily hit by dry spells. So we need to come up with varieties that are much tolerant to multiple stress. And also a genome-wide association mapping is required to identify rows associated with agronomic traits, including high yield, drought tolerance, and so forth. And also identification of microbes that can be used in biofertilizer formulations. It's one of the potential researchable area. You know, now we have, we normally use organic fertilizers, of which so far the cost itself is unbearable for smallholder farmer, even I myself. So we can explore some alternative opportunities through biofertilizers, so that we can overcome the challenge of hunger and malnutrition. Reaching that far, thank you to the audience and also the moderator for the opportunity given.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kevats Fatani. We wish you all the best as you work on completing your master's in bioinformatics. I hope you will finish it. Yeah, so I think, yeah, for the most part, crop biotechnology has really had a field day in Malawi. And I mean, for most of us who are into this biotech thing, it's obvious. Like, for example, in terms of plant biotechnology, there was the issue of the Banchetop virus. So I do know that, for example, at Bunda, for quite many years, over 20 years, there's been a tissue culture lab there. But I also know there's a particular person in Area 25. His name is it Frank Washon or someone? He has a firm called Hotnet. So he got funding from HIVOS, and there's actually a modern lab for tissue culture for banana in Area 25 there. We once did a little bit of training there, I think. Yeah, but it's really happening. So, but that aside, we will now go back to those who have questions for our energy guy, our energy professional, Mada. Yeah, so if you have a question for Mada, would you please indicate before we wrap up in the next 5 minutes, I think. Yes, trust. Please trust. Go ahead.
Hello. I don't have really a question, but just a challenge for you guys doing biotech. I am a crop protection person, focusing on protecting crops from insects. Yeah, so one thing that I look forward to you guys are providing biotechnology solutions on how to protect crop from insects. Because right now, like the GMO stuff is coming from technology that has been developed somewhere else. But is it possible for you guys just to look at everyday problems that we face and try to find a technology solution to it? Instead of trying to adapt technologies that have been done elsewhere, and we try to adapt them to the situation in Malawi, it takes time than just looking at the everyday problems we face and trying to find a solution. So that's my first challenge to you. The second comment I have is that I think Madalizo was saying that a lot of guys have started, there's an opportunity to be entrepreneurs. My advice is if you go alone, most of the times you don't succeed. But if you partner with one or two guys, you'll be able to get bigger grants than just doing things yourself. So some of the grants that he shared, it may be important to look at them and whether we can partner or you can partner, the biotech people of other disciplines, to partner and try to apply for those grants that are available. The research opportunities, look at them as an opportunity for teamwork than an individual work, because these times most of the big grants are given to a team than given to a single person. Yeah, otherwise I did enjoy the presentations and I look forward to attending the presentations on this forum. I came to know the presentation because of Kefa. He's in our department. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Quite some inspiring words there. Hey, guys, as you have heard, our dear sister there is talking about the need to come together, to partner. Yes, please. Yes, Manganda, talk. You want to talk? Please, to talk. Yes, is it Hasvine? Mike. Okay, Mike, go ahead. Yes, Mike, you can talk.
Is it an ongoing thing or is that you're just planning for today only?
Well, initially, the idea was to, because we have been observing the progress that Jen, Steve, Mada, and Kefas have been making. These guys have been going abroad and like to do these things. Yeah, but as we plan for this meeting, we realize there's a lot we need to talk about to further build our industry. So I think this is not the last, it's only a step into many more things that we want to do together. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Mike, you wanted to say something? Yes, Mike, you can talk. Your mic is on. Yes, please talk.
All right, thank you for giving me an opportunity. I don't have much to questions on the presentations, but mine is also just a comment. As we can see, or as we can experience outside here in Malawi, there are more challenges which we are facing, and these challenges are also requiring Biotech to intervene. So, as Trust said, that the challenge is that for us to seek for our funds, it's difficult for us to go into this field individually. But once if we organize ourselves and form teams, that one might also help. So I think that team should be taken into consideration for us to proceed in the next level, rather than just say we have this talk and then stop there. Because once we come together and then form something which is great. That might also we might produce something which is better. Okay, and also on the entrepreneurship part, it's also very great if we venture into entrepreneurship, because if you look at the bioenergy part, we are trailing behind, because in other countries they are using this technology, but here in Malawi, it's just maybe a little companies which are involved in this sector. So I think if we come together and do something, maybe on bioenergy and other sectors, it may also be help. Thanks.
Thank you.
So that's all what I have.
Thank you. All right. Yes. So, in the interest of time, there's.
Sam, you are talking, but we can't get what you are saying.
All right.
You are not.
The computer just told me that I wasn't being heard, but I've heard you. So, yeah. In the interest of time, I think like from all the presentations that we have made today. Okay, so I think from what was being spoken, I think I got three key things in terms of divisions. There's the aspect of research, there's the aspect of communication, there's the aspect of entrepreneurship. So I think all of us cannot be business people, but we can in a way synergize that. We do that, it feeds into this, it feeds into the other thing, but eventually at the end of the day these three can work together, because someone who may be good at commercializing a bioenergy concept may not necessarily be good at the science behind it. And the one doing the science may not necessarily be good at speaking about the science to people who are not into science. So I think all of these aspects of communication, communicating the science, the aspect of doing the research, the aspect of commercializing it, all of these are things that all of us can specialize in, but we have to work together as they are saying. So I think I don't know, but I think for the next meeting we may want to have to talk more in the near future as soon as possible. I was thinking if we could look at the issue of banana, yes, I think there's quite a lot of potential in there, and if you're someone who has a lot of expertise in banana, you may want to talk to me in my DM or something. I think we can have another extended talk on banana and what we can do biotechnology wise, but also what is happening locally, because you know that banana is also quite a staple in Malawi. There's a lot of market for it, and for now we are depending mostly on banana imports from Tanzania. But I think with all that technology, with all the funding that is already on ground locally, the millions of dollars that are already on ground locally, I think we should be able to see something in that. Kefas, Mada, Steve, and Jen, any last words from you guys?
Thank you very much, Sam, for the platform. By the way, I just want to encourage you guys that there's a lot of opportunities out there. Maybe what it's like, it's about to know your purpose roadmap, that what you want to be in near future and what you want to achieve in life. In a special way, I should thank Trust, because she's already here. She's my mentor, and she's guiding me a lot, that I'm able to identify my purpose. So as she already emphasized that alone you can go fast, but if you want to walk along or to achieve more in life, let's partner, let's engage our friends of different expertise, so that we can achieve a lot in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kefas.
May I say something?
Yes, please do so, Jen.
Okay. On these talks, I'm sure from the people that are attending, there are other people who have other things that can be shared with everyone. So I think maybe you can reach out to some or anyone among us so that maybe we can be able to see what other people are also doing. This doesn't mean that we are the only people trying to do something in this field. There are a lot of people and there are a lot of things that are being done that we don't even know. So it's, if possible, or if you know someone who is also doing anything in this field, maybe that person can help to inspire others, because some people think that after we got the degrees in biotechnology, like, we have no other place to go, we have no other things to do. So it's better we also try to inspire a lot in this field. That's all I could say for now.
Thank you so much, Jen.
So Sam, if I may.
Please do.
So thanks everyone for for being with us when you heard the call, the invitation. So from synthetic biology standpoint, I wanted to say that you are all welcome to be part and parcel of Simba Africa team. And as I said, we have programs lined up for this very year, for the remaining months of the year, and we would be so happy to have you on board. We'll be reaching out so soon. One of the great major events, physical events, to say, and we hope you make it a point to join us. And the one last thing that just to comprehend what Trust said, I think it's quite remarkable that all those that have achieved, most of them, it was not because they were alone in their journeys, but because they had the pleasure of joining forces with other teams, other people. And Malawians cannot be exceptional. So we need to consider that seriously. If you have to go far, we need to do more collaborations in Malawi, but also abroad. And lastly is we want to, from synthetic biology, we want to do kind of science that ends in products. We appreciate those that are doing research and then they publish your articles and stuff like that, but we also want to couple that with science that translates the scientific ideas into products, and that's what we promote as synthetic biology. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure to present to you all, and stay blessed.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Matt, do you have any words? Mada. Okay, cool. That's all right. Any two persons from the? Yeah, okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So all I can say is you should not limit yourselves to focusing on academics or just having a job in biotechnology, because the jobs in biotechnology are very scarce in the country. But I think the best advice I can give to anyone is to pick out any discipline that you were interested in during the course of your 4 years of training, biochemistry or anything that's related to biotechnology, and try building a professional career around that. That is exactly what I did when I came out of college. I started building a professional career around bioenergy, and the energy sector is really broad. I found myself going to other disciplines that are related to the energy sector. So I'm a fully fledged energy professional, but I have understanding of bioenergy, solar energy, wind energy, and a lot of disciplines that have to do with energy sector. So having a degree in biotechnology should not just limit you to doing something solely related to bioenergy, but it should be a starting point where you can start from. It won't necessarily take you directly to a biotechnology professional, but it should be a start. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Madalitso. Well, at this point, because in the interest of time, we have extended with almost like 20 minutes. But also there are also other platforms that are there locally. There's the Initiative for Advancement of Biotechnology in Malawi. There's a Facebook page on it. You should like it. And then this platform called Biotech Talks that we just came up with temporarily to create this platform. It will be there. And the good thing is, if you registered, we have your email address, we have your contact. So the upcoming events, be assured that you will be notified in good time. So once again, I want to thank every one of you for participating in this event. In case you didn't follow properly on any of the presentations, this event was pre-recorded, so I think it was recorded, not pre-recorded, but it was recorded, so it will be available online. You will get the link to watch it entirely. And then please, any ideas you may have, any suggestions, please feel free to come with them forward, and we'll see what next to do. But yeah, I do believe our next presentation, either we're going more on the bioenergy or on banana or something even more and more interesting. Yeah, Peter, the poverty question, we may want to address that in a later thing. Yeah, we have also been thinking about something called okay, it's called Southern Africa Biotech Expo. So Southern Africa Biotech Expo. So basically, it's also just on the talking level, but it's about, you know, bringing together renowned people in biotech, whether from Southern Africa or within, you know, come in one place like at Bunda and then do a 1 day or 2 days conference, just making presentations. You know, talking and talking and talking is what will help us in a way to get there, so that our science also gets noticed and gets the kind of funding that it may need. But at this point in time, thank you so much for being here. You may now leave the meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you.